Thanks to President Trump, former Congressman George Santos is out of prison now, and he's already made a couple of media appearances.
Trump announced on Truth Social last week that he was commuting Santos' sentence. He wrote, in part, George has been in solitary confinement for long stretches of time and by all accounts has been horribly mistreated. Therefore, I just signed a commutation releasing George Santos from prison immediately. Good luck, George. Have a great life. Trump also called Senator Richard Blumenthal a fraud and accused him of lying about his war experience, saying what Blumenthal did was worse than what Santos did.
CNN host Dana Bash told Santos that many critics of his aren't happy with his sentence being commuted, since they see it as Trump giving him special treatment. Here's how Santos responded.
There's a lot of people who were upset with President Biden who pardoned his entire family before he left office in an unprecedented move. So pardon me if I'm not paying too much attention to the curl clutching of the outrage of my critics and of the people predominantly on the left who are going to go out there and try to make a big deal out of something like this. It is known that presidents have the power of the pardon and the clemency, which are plenary, and they're extended at their will.
Santos also appeared on Fox News, where co-host Charlie Hurt asked him why he shouldn't serve out his full prison term. Here's what Santos had to say.
I understand people want to make this into he's getting away with it. Right. I'm not getting away with it. I was the first person to ever go to federal prison for this type of civil FEC violation. These are usually solved in penalties. Repentance is an understatement. It's like I have been dealt a second chance. I have a lot to prove to a lot of people, and I have to make sure President Trump understands that I am not going to disappoint him.
Well, George Santos, out of prison.
What a character.
I'm interested to see what you'll say about this. Look, he was accused of and convicted of a variety of financial crimes.
Yes.
This is a commutation rather than a pardon, so it does not establish that he is not guilty of these crimes. It simply reduces his further penalty to not having to remain in prison.
Right.
You know, you and I might disagree on this. I take the view of prison that I want people in prison who are a danger to my fellow Americans, who pose some risk to their safety. I don't believe George Santos poses any risk to anyone's physical safety. And so do I really have a problem that he's not languishing away in a jail or in solitary confinement? Prison's not fun. It's miserable for the people involved. And I'm enough of a humanitarian that I don't want people just suffering, even if they've caused some wrong. I want them there if they are a threat to my fellow citizens. I don't believe that's the case with George Santos, so I have no particular opposition with him being released. There are probably many other people in prison, I would, even in a not ideological sense, who are serving sentences for, I tend to, over financial crimes, like even remember that whatever celebrities it were who were accused of bribing college officials to get that scandal from a couple of years ago, and they had to do 30 days or 90 days in prison, and I'm like, okay, but why? What is it? It's just some symbolic gesture of punishment. See, I don't view it as punishment. I view it as protection for the rest of us.
Well, that's
my view of prison.
That's a broader, abstract debate about prisons, and if one held to your view, it would seem that nobody would ever go to prison for so-called white-collar crime, right? You would only ever go to prison for offences against a person or property.
Right. I mean, you could have your assets seized to pay back if you're convicted of some crime. You know, you could have limits certainly placed on your further ability to engage in financial transactions whatsoever. I'm not saying people, just because it's financial, you should be able to commit crimes and get away with them. But there's something about being housed in prison that's, for me, is, I don't know. I could take an idiosyncratic view of it, I guess.
I mean, I just think that has the effect of being more lenient on richer criminals, basically. And people who, get
Well, if a criminal stabs someone, then lock them up. But
right, yeah, but I mean, the people who commit white-collar crimes are disproportionately richer than the people who commit other crimes. So I think that's where we have problems. And I just also think this is blatant favoritism on Trump's part towards Santos, who he thinks is a good Republican who's kissed up to him enough, frankly.
Well, we'll see what kind of lifestyle George Santos lives from now on. I hope it is one absent of crime. That does it for us on Rising Live. Look out for more exclusive YouTube content coming your way later today, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to all the Hills YouTube channel content so you never miss any of it. And we'll see you back here tomorrow, Niall and I. See you then.